Lowell Zoning Board of Appeals for May 11th, 2015. Before we get started, if you have any electronic devices, can you please either turn them off or turn them down, please? And second of all, if you plan on addressing the board as someone in favor or an opponent to a petition, could you please sign in at the podium with your name and address before addressing the board? First matter before us is a continuance. This is ZB 2015-7. The petition's a variance. The applicant is George Cabia. The property is located at 17 Burton Street, and the petition, the applicant is seeking variance relief for minimum lot size, minimum lot frontage, minimum front yard setback, minimum side yard setback, and lot area per dwelling unit to construct a new single family pursuant to section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. The board is in receipt of communication from the petitioner. I'll read it into the record. I am requesting here that my petition for a variance of ZB 2015-7 be withdrawn without prejudice. Please consider this matter. So any comments from the board? So it's my understanding, Swati, that the petitioners work something else out and they won't need to seek any relief.
Yes, they went on to procure some property, a certain area from their adjacent neighbor. So that brings their lot into the compliant size. So they basically don't need a relief anymore.
Okay, thank you. Sure. So without any other comments from the board, could I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-007 for variance for 17 Burton Street to be withdrawn without prejudice.
Have a second?
Second the motion.
Have a roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approve the withdrawal.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approve the withdrawal.
Mr. Paglia?
Approve the withdrawal.
Mr. Peck?
Approve withdrawal.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve withdrawal.
Thank you.
Okay, our next matter before us is under new business, ZB 2015-17. The petition's a variance. The applicant is Chingru Kao, property located at 211 Fletcher Street, and the petition is a variance for the construction of a new egress stairway that will encroach within the side setback requirement. The proposed project is located in the urban multifamily zoning district and requires variance approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under section 5.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Is the petitioner here? Yes, sir. So can you come up to the podium, please?
Basically, we bought this house, and the building inspector asked us to build this the second safeway egress. So, and then we found out we need to get this approval from the zoning department. So, yeah, this is our story.
Mm-hmm. So, if I can ask questions, Swati, so did somebody from the city go out to the site, and what was the purpose of the visit?
So this was pretty much brought to our attention by the building inspector. There is a residential unit on the second floor, which has only one egress, and by code, you need 2 egresses to meet the fire standards. And so the only option is to provide this staircase on the side of the property. It's a corner lot, so pretty much you just have this one side for egress. So it's basically just a staircase. It's not covered. Had it been an ADA accessibility issue, it could have gotten a waiver, but this is a proper second egress. So we recommended that they proceed with a request for variance from the Board of Appeals.
So when you're facing the building, is it at the rear of the facility?
No, when you're facing the building, it's on the left side. When you're looking at the front of the building, it's on the left side. There is a photograph.
Well, I know, I mean, I visited the property, and I also looked at the, I looked at some of the neighboring locations were there, and they all seem to have theirs on the rear. So when you say it's going to be on the side,
There isn't, because what they're right now trying to do is there is a window which they are going to replace with a door. So that minimizes the amount of alteration they have to do to provide that second egress.
okay. So my understanding is there's nobody either in the commercial piece or the residential right now, is that correct?
The building is empty.
Empty?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the city told us we need to, have everything done, then go ahead.
So your plan is to have a residential unit upstairs,
Yes.
and you're going to have some type of business downstairs?
Yeah, this zoning is what we found out from the city. The city told us the second floor is residential and the first one is commercial.
Is the property for sale right now?
What?
Is the property for sale right now?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I saw a for sale sign in the window up in the residential unit.
Oh, probably I don't, I don't,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Okay, anything else you want to add, sir?
No.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone here that'd like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor, hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone here to speak in opposition? Opposition. Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any questions about the petition. It makes sense, and certainly if the city told the petitioner that he has to put in this second form of egress for safety reasons, it makes sense. But actually, I do have one question, if you don't mind. Do you think you'll still be able to use that driveway or ramp for vehicles, or will the stairs take up too
No,
much
that
room?
driveway is not for vehicles.
Oh, it's not anyway? It's not
Yeah,
used for vehicles
It's
anyway?
not for vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I wish you luck. I hope you can get the facility or the building renovated and get a commercial tenant in there, and I don't have any other issues with this, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Van?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask a couple of questions, if I could.
Sure.
So this is an existing unit
Yes.
that previously was occupied that only had one means of egress,
Mm-hmm.
only one stair. So this is making a big improvement to be safe as far as what our building codes currently require.
Yes.
I just want to ask a couple questions about the unit itself.
Yeah.
The plan that we have shows a second floor plan,
Yeah.
but it has a stair that seems to provide access to a third floor.
That's an attic. The third floor is not used. It's not going to be used. It's just an attic area.
So it's strictly storage.
Yeah, storage.
Okay.
Nothing. Yeah.
So we're looking at this as being a three-bedroom unit with
Yes.
two bathrooms, a living room, and a kitchen.
Yeah.
And currently, there's a roughly 20-foot deep space beside off of Dublin that looks like it might be parking. Is that correct? Is that how that space was used in the past?
What space? The ramp?
Is it a driveway? Yeah. So that would have been off-street parking previously?
No, it's not for cars. It's just for it's not a driveway. It's just for the I would say the second exit for the first floor.
Okay. So that space wasn't previously used then for parking?
Not
So
for
you're not
parking.
taking parking away from the
No,
space?
we
by
don't
providing
modify that part. Yeah,
And so you really only have on-street parking
Yeah.
allowed for this unit?
on-street parking.
Okay. I guess I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dennis. Yes, sir.
No comments, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Sean?
I have no questions or comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay. Swathi, to you, all the city departments, did they get notified about this property? And
Yes, we did check with the fire department, and they approved. It's not something that, since it's a corner lot, they have sufficient access. And the building inspector also confirmed that even after the installation of the stair, there will be sufficient space
Yep.
for a passage.
Okay. Another observation I made, so I think it's great we're putting in a set of stairs in the rear, but the front entrance, I noticed there's no step at all there. There's no step, there's no stairs. I mean, it probably would need 1 or 2 stairs. It's just the door, and then it drops off to the street level. Is there any plan to put a step or 2 steps for that door? The current door that's on Fletcher Street?
I'm not a professional, but we will follow the code like the city suggested. So we have a contractor, to follow the
Yeah,
code.
I mean, I didn't see it written up, but when I went by, it was the first observation I made, there was nothing to, you know what I mean? It's like sidewalk stepping up.
Sure, I'll definitely confirm that with the building inspector. I'm pretty sure they have to meet the regulation, the code regulations for a building access.
Okay, so
So,
we wouldn't condition anything like that, or are we leaving it up to the building
yeah,
inspector?
no, we do, the inspector has to make sure those egresses, if there is great difference between a certain level, they have to provide
Yep.
the steps.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, any other comments from any other board members? So again, sir, it sounds like the building department's been out there, they've made a determination. I think obviously it's a requirement, and, I wish you luck with the property. So, and as far as meeting the criteria for the variance, I believe you've met the criteria that's set forth. So with that said, could I have a motion, please?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just add one condition, if we
Sure.
could.
Yep.
That we make it conditional on the permit drawing set that was part of the package dated March 23rd, drawings A1 and A2.
Okay, good.
Okay. Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-015 for a variance for 211 Fletcher Street for the construction of a new egress stairway that will encroach on the side setback with the condition that the permit set of documents dated March 23rd, 2015, drawings A1 and A2, be part of the submission.
Okay, could I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey,
Approved with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy,
Approve with condition.
Mr. Paglia,
Approved with condition.
Mr. Peck,
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Perrin.
Approve with condition.
Thank you.
Hey, Ms. Cal, you've been approved. Wish you best of luck, sir. Yep, thank you. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2015-18, the petitions of variance. The applicant is Scott Crawford. Property is located at 158 Virginia Ave. And the petition's a variance for the construction of a front porch without meeting the front setback requirement of the district. The proposed project is located in the suburban single-family zoning district and requires a variance approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 5.1 of the Lowell zoning ordinance. Mr. Crawford here? Yes, sir. Good evening, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Evening.
So if you could, obviously we received the set of plans and what your intent is, so could you tell the board what
Sure.
you'd like to do?
So my wife and I, we have 2 kids, and we live in an older house, was built in about 1930, and the front steps leading up into the house are the original steps, and they're very steep, and when you open the door to our house, the sweep of the door is just about the size of the landing. So it's been really difficult with our 2 little girls to get through the door safely. Also, where the steps are as old as they are, we'd just like to kind of give our house a little more curb appeal in terms of the outward appearance of it. Our neighborhood is very street-oriented. All of the kids in the neighborhood play in the street, and myself and my wife would like to put on a porch so that we'd have more space to be able to safely enter and exit the door, but also give ourselves an area to be able to watch the kids a little more easily and higher up from the street. So that's why we're here, or why I'm here today. And
As far as the size of the porch you would like to do, how'd you come up with the size?
my contractor, Stephen, is here, and
We have a set of stairs that...
You gotta, if you can just introduce yourself, sir.
Stephen Crowley Construction.
Yep,
We have a set of steps that comes off the existing front of the house
yep,
that projects over 7 feet. So what we were suggesting was that we'd bring a porch out that was 6 feet. We'd try to incorporate the platform, so we're not infringing on, the variance, not asking for that much. Try to put a platform in front of the house where they can exit and enter, which is more convenient. On the drawings, it shows that the steps would be sunk inside. Depending on what you'd allow us to do, we could play with the sidewalk, because after they do the renovation, we would be doing stuff with the sidewalk. So at the street, where the sidewalk starts, we could almost put a piece of granite to make one step, so it eliminates the other steps from infringing on the street. But we'd like to come out a minimum of 6 feet to give them, make the front, 3 houses up, we'd put a farmer's porch on. That's where they came to meet us, and
so is that on the same side
on
of
the
the street?
same side of the
As you're
street.
going up, yeah, right, I saw that.
But they didn't need a variance, but it will really give them curb appeal, it will make the neighborhood, none of the neighbors are here in opposition, because they're all for what they want to do, and I'm a local contractor, just trying to help them out.
Yep,
But whatever way we need to conform the stairs, we can play with 1 or 2 steps with the sidewalk issue, because the step is only going to be 7 1/4 inches. So in other words, if we lift the sidewalk up, if there was a problem with what we're asking for, we could play with the sidewalk and play with one of the steps, and actually that gets us 2 feet shorter on the steps coming out beyond the 6 feet. But right now, the stairs that are on the existing house come out beyond 7 feet. So,
okay,
okay?
great, thank you.
think.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Anything else you want to add, sir?
No, thank you.
Yep, okay, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anyone here like to speak in favor of this project? In favor? In favor? Hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? Opposition, opposition, hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any issues with this application. I went out to the neighborhood on Sunday, and a number of the houses, not just on this street, but some of the adjacent streets have had porches and different things added to them. And I think it, as the petitioner mentioned, it will add to the curb appeal of the house. It has sort of a flat front now with just those stairs coming out of the front door. So I would like to have the stairs, I don't know if we need to condition it because it's in the plan, but I do like the idea of the stairs being sunken into the porch and just keeping them the way they are, as long as that's what you intend to do anyway. It still leaves you a lot more room than you currently have, which is just a landing. So, so that's it. No questions, and thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Van?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of questions about the look of the porch when you're completed. I don't see any drawings in the package as far as whether the porch has railings or how high off the ground the porch is going to be, or any of the...
Well, the porch, or the landing of the current landing that we have now is maybe about 4 feet from the ground. So that would obviously be the level of the actual porch. We would definitely like there to be a railing because, like
Yep.
I said, we have
At
kids.
4 feet, you'd need a railing.
Yeah. And as far as, what were you anticipating for?
We would be putting, sorry, excuse me. Again, we would be putting railings up. It's over 30 inches off the ground.
Sure.
Handrails coming down the porch. The front of the porch where it's so high off the ground, we would be closing it in so it's all looks beautiful in the neighborhood. Probably not with something with like lattice work, with something to a raised panel and a soffit vinyl siding so it really looks attractive. But the railings will follow the codes. What we would just want to know is, where the gentleman questioned about the stairs, is I can play with them either way if, upon giving the variance, either way you do it, if you just give us a dimension which you would allow us to come out. We asked for 6 feet. I think we might need 1 step beyond that, but if that was a question, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page, if it's accepted, so when the building inspector comes out after it's done and we give an as-built, that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be in coming up off the front of the house. So if there's a question on me having to lift up the sidewalk to eliminate one of those steps, and that was the only question, is the dimension coming off the front of the house.
Okay.
So
So right now, the stair,
the stairs come out past 7 feet.
but the landing at the top of the stair, is that a 3-foot landing, a 4-foot landing?
No, it's not a 4-foot landing. It's probably a 3-foot landing.
It'll be a 3-foot landing, okay.
So we would want to make sure we have at least 3 foot
So you'll,
coming in front of the door,
so you'll maintain 3 feet.
and we'd be bringing the stairs down, but I believe there is 4 steps there, so that, you know, we could have 3 inside of the farmer's porch and possibly 1 is outside,
Sure.
or we bring the walkway up to eliminate that 1 step that might be outside of the 6 feet, so the walkway keeps it all enclosed.
Yeah. Now, would there be any intent to enclose the porch?
No, it's all gonna be open. I mean, there'll be columns coming down to support it.
Would you mind if that was a condition, if the board so chose to?
Oh, I don't believe
that
he
the
would close,
porch
he would
would
screen it in or
Remain as
something.
an open-air porch?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what we had planned, open air.
Great, great, great. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I was on the same line as my colleague, Mr. McCarthy, so I do like the concept of the 3 in and the 1 out. I think that's the best solution when you look at that, as far as coming onto the sidewalk. Certainly, as I look at this project, anytime a young family is looking to do upgrades to better their family life with their small children, kind of gives us an indication that we're keeping another young family in the city, and certainly with utilizing local contractors, it's an all in all, it's a good project, so I'm in favor of this, as long as you're in agreement with that 1 condition, so that's all I have, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I agree with the same sentiments with my fellow board members. The project seems to be in order. I was curious about whether or not it was going to be an open-end or closed-end porch, so now I would agree if you can make that as part of a condition, that would be something that I would support. So I wish you the best of luck. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean. Well, I guess one of the other things I noticed too is the lot right now, it's already, it's undersized based on current dimensions that are required. So even your front and your rear yard are less than present conditions. So we're talking, looks like 12.3 based on the handout we were given to us, which is almost like 50% of the requirement today, right? But you only have 50.5 to begin with. And so I would say right there, you know, we're starting off with somewhat of a hardship based on the size and shape of the lot. One of the things I was discussing, since we weren't handed really a set of plans, one of the conditions we're going to ask for is to get some type of either a rendering of what the porch will actually look like, and that would be a requirement before even the construction starts, just so once it starts going up, what you say you're gonna put up there is what goes up there. So if this gentleman, Mr. Crowley, or yourself can put some type of sketch rendering together of what, or any formal plans you might have that can be submitted to DPD before you get started, just so we know exactly what you're doing, okay? So I think based on, like I say, the size and shape of the lot and the intent of the petitioner, as I said, when I drove up the street, I really wasn't finding too many houses with it till I got to that house you're talking about. It's kind of a unique design. I like how you did the end cap there. Yeah, yep, that was very nicely done. Okay, any other comments from any other board members? So will that take care of there was a comment by the DPD about elevation, so I would hope that would be captured in the renderings. Anything, Swati?
Just about changing the grade of the sidewalk, if it's in the public right-of-way, that is something that needs to be worked out with the engineers department, so I don't think that's something, I mean, either that has to be conditioned, depends on how it matches the grade. So the contractor was mentioning about how the grade of the sidewalk can be altered. Now, if that sidewalk is located on public right-of-way, that needs the approval of the engineering department. So,
The sidewalk?
yeah, he kept mentioning that the sidewalk grade could be altered to avoid that.
Crowley, can you come up, please?
Just,
Yeah.
if you could just answer that directly.
If you allow us the one step beyond the 6 feet, we're all set there. We don't have to play with any elevation. What I was just concerned with is we're asking for the deck to come out 6 feet and the stairs are sitting inside. I just want to know whatever we have to do. We don't have to change the sidewalk to do what we need to do. But I was just saying that there's a possibility that one of those steps, the first step going up to the deck, might be beyond the 6 feet. And that would be just one step, which is, 10 inches, 10 and a half inches. And that was the only question. But we really don't have to play with anything from the street, because if something at the street, if the curb that I was going to put in needed engineering, I could speak to him, but we didn't have to do that. All I'm saying is there's still 12 feet there. The walkway does need to be addressed, so we can make that elevation without doing anything in front to keep that step either inside the 6 feet, or if you allow us to keep it outside the 6 feet. That's the only question, because we will have to do an as-built for the building inspector when the job is completed, so that would show exactly where that final step was on the final as-built.
Yeah. So does that handle your concern?
Yes, basically, if the sidewalk where that 12 feet is left, if that grade is being altered, all I'm saying is that needs to match at a certain slope that will be approved by the engineering department. So the board may want to condition that, keeping in mind.
Yeah, well, I don't have a problem with conditioning it. I got to go based on what Mr. Crowley's saying to us. We're not going to have an issue with the sidewalk, but we're going to condition it that way.
No
We'll
problem.
protect everybody, and then.
That's fine.
There's no, how surprises happen
Yeah, and
sometimes.
we have to give a set of drawings to the building inspector on what we're doing prior to him issuing us a building permit, exactly what we're doing. He won't issue a permit with the engineering that I gave you. He'll want to see structurals and what we're building on the deck.
Okay, all right, good.
Thank you again.
Yep, you're welcome.
I have 3 conditions. So the first one is that a final set of elevation building plans, including a rendered elevation, be submitted to the board prior to any construction, that the porch be built to be an open-air porch and not fully enclosed, and that to provide for one additional stair tread to further encroach on the front yard setback. All right.
Okay, so could I have a motion, please?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-018 for a variance for 158 Virginia Ave for the construction of a front porch without meeting the front yard setback with the following conditions: that a final set of building plans including a rendered elevation be submitted to the board prior to any construction. Second condition is that the porch to be built remain as an open-air porch and not be fully enclosed. And the third condition is that the construction of one additional stair tread be allowed to further encroach on the front yard setback.
Okay. You all set with those conditions? Yep, okay. Could I have a second?
Second?
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approve with conditions.
Mr. Paglia?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Peck?
Approve the conditions.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Crawford, you've been approved. Wish you best of luck with the final project. All right. Yep, have a good night. Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2015-19, the petitions of variance. The applicant is Georgette and Al Latender. Property is located at 31 Delaware Avenue, and the petition variance for the construction of a new single-family home that does not meet lot area per dwelling unit, or frontage requirements. The proposed project is located in the suburban single-family zoning district and requires approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Are either of the Latenders here?
Hi.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'd rather be home. No,
Well, I'm not going to answer that question. Yeah,
I'm fine. How are you?
good.
Good.
So, what would you like to tell us about what you'd like to do over there?
Well, when I bought the property, we had a zoning law of 7,200 square feet. And I'd like to put a house on exactly that, the 7,200 square feet. And that's about it. I'd like to build a house on that lot using the old grandfather laws, or whatever you want to call them, you know. Granted, I have the land aside of it, but in order for me to go and make the lot bigger, means I gotta tear down my garage. Everything I own in the back has to go down. I'm gonna lose everything. But,
Okay.
I put the garage there because that was the 8,200 square feet. And the city, with their infinite wisdom, they increased it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's it. I just want to put up a house, give my daughter, actually, I'm giving it to my daughter,
Yeah, okay.
you know.
So, have you been in discussions with the city about, do you understand what the issue is today?
No, I don't understand that. What's
Okay. So you're here, as you stated, because your lot is 7,200 and it requires 10,000 today, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So, a couple of things I guess I'll start with, and I did make a call to the city and asked some questions after I made my observations. One would be the two trees that are sitting there on the lot. Who owns those trees?
Is that the one that comes with the picture?
I'm just going to say, if I drive up and look at that lot, there's two huge trees sitting there.
Well, you drove by it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, the one on the street belongs to the city. It's on the city sidewalk.
Okay.
The one on the back belongs to us.
Okay.
Those are two, yeah, they're just two trees. They were bigger than that. We trimmed them down a while back, you know.
Okay, so you're claiming one of the trees belongs to the city?
Yes.
Okay, is that going to impact putting the house up?
No, but
No?
if I can say this, as I was mowing the lawn last week, this fellow from the city of Lowell come over, and they had the job of taking down trees that kind of lean towards the wires. And he was looking at that tree, and they got it scheduled to do a trim job on that tree, you know what I mean? And I kind of like that when he's going to do that. I'd like to see him leave it there, because I like the tree, but it does need a good trimming. You know what I mean? There's some branches that are, ooh,
Yep.
they got to come down.
Okay. So, Swati, as you know, I asked the question about the trees. I also asked the question about the lot. Is there any update from when I spoke to you today?
We're still waiting to hear back from the tree warden who updates us about maintenance of the tree. So I can definitely let you know about what is basically on city land and what is basically maintained. It would have been helpful if the plan provided by the surveyor located the trees on the plan. It would have been easier to identify that. I should have something by tomorrow for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
The other one about the property, I have included a graph printouts from the website. We're talking about that linear extension
Yep.
to the property on the other side because the assessor's office is recording a different shape and area for the lot. So, and we were talking about maybe how the applicant can provide us some insight into that.
Okay, so we still don't know if it's 7,200 or 9,000? Yep.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions I had for the city. If I look at the city website for your property, it says you have 9,000, not 7,200. And then we discussed there seems to be, I'll say your lot is 7,200, but then you seem to have a strip that runs, looks like between maybe your residence and your neighbor there, and that might account for the other 1,800, I'm not sure, but the city has you down at 9,000, not 7,200.
Yeah.
So just putting that out there, you know what I mean?
Well, what you're looking at is, let me see how I can put that. When we bought the property, there's, oh, God, how can I say that? I know what you're talking about. It is recorded at the courthouse as a 9,000 square foot lot.
Yep.
But when we got together with the planning board, they requested that we have the 10,000 square feet, which meant they'd have to go into my garages, tear that down. I'd lose the whole garage. I built that thing. I've been there 56 or 57 years, you know? Now, the part that you see with the leg on it, when I bought it from Glenny's, when Glenny sold the house, he moved the line over 10 feet because if you look at my property, I got a row of bushes, you know?
Yep.
Nice and tall bushes. That was his. So when he gave his son that house, he moved the property line over when he had it surveyed, so that gave me an extra 10 feet from my house to the lot aside of me, which is the Manila house. Now, when I built my house, my side yard at that point was 5 feet. I was grandfathered in on that. When I had an opportunity to buy that extra, the Glenny's land, right? I took the 10 feet and added it up to my house, and I gave the other guy 7,200 square feet. You follow that? So now I got an easement of 10 feet coming down from Magnolia Street to Delaware Avenue, right? And the rest goes over to the left-hand side and goes up to the ice cream stand. Now, upon advice from my Leo White and the the Board of Appeals that I talked to, my best choice right now, in order to keep the garage standing and don't disturb anything in the yard, and give my daughter the place to build her house without any headaches, or worrying about someday you're on somebody's land, you know what I mean? So we agreed to go ahead and look for the old 7,200 square foot lot size and build a house on that. Is that pretty cool to what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, I guess one of the things, if I look at, Swati, do you have the Lowell GIS?
Bill, can I say, this thing's loud.
Just let me finish first, sir. I have to ask a question. What is? Okay, so what I was asking about was when you keep referring to your garage, and I know exactly which garage, it has your name right on it, correct? I think it says Latender Construction, whatever. When I go to the property, and then when I also look at the Lowell GIS system, that garage that you're referring to is not on this lot of land that we're talking about right now, whether it's 7,200 or 9,000. That's not on there. That's on your actual lot right now from Magnolia Street.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I believe maybe your concern is if we're asking you to increase the size to get to the 10,000, and that's not what I'm saying, that you don't want to have your building come down, correct?
Yeah.
Right. But today it doesn't come into play for the property at 31. That garage is not on 31 Delaware Ave.
No, it isn't.
Correct. Okay. So I just want to make sure you and I are talking the same thing. I understand what you're trying to say, but I'm not concerned about the garage right now. I'm just telling you that we have a plot plan, which I'm sure you saw that was done 2 years ago, that shows it at 7,200 square feet, yet the city has it at 9,000. I know you mentioned the other activities, but there's 1,800 square feet that still needs to be accounted for. And I'm just trying to understand, is the city's books correct, or you got a different, you going on your plot plan, that's all. Okay, anything else you want to add at this point, sir? Because I think some of the board members might have some questions. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's
Yeah.
about it,
Okay. All right. I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to open it up to the public. Does anyone here like to speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Yes, sir.
My name is Farouk Sir. I am the neighbor. I live at 30 Delaware Ave, and I'm in favor of him building the house there.
Yep. So you're directly across the street, sir, correct?
Yes, I
Yep.
live across the
Okay.
street.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak in favor? In favor? Favor? Hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone in opposition? 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 Hearing none. That portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Could I, through you to the neighbor, just ask that if you could just put your name in the record that's on the podium? Thank you. As far as the petition, I want to follow up on a couple of questions that the planning office has about your petition.
The question is to him or me?
To him, yes.
Okay, yeah, all right.
So, although you're not going to tear down your garage, there's a shed in the back of the property, a brown shed. Is that what you're saying on your plans that you want to remove?
That can come down.
Okay,
Either that or I'll put that on a bunch of rollers and roll it up the other end.
okay.
But you can't disturb the other end because I got a garden going.
I saw the garden. I didn't go on the property, but I'll be back when some of the crops are coming in and maybe grab a tomato or something when nobody's looking. But that shed in the back, you say on your plans that you want to remove it anyway.
Yes,
Either
we're
take
gonna
it down or relocate it.
Yeah.
Okay,
The purpose, can I say something?
sure.
The purpose of squaring off the lot was so that if someday I die, and the planning board and the building inspector suggested that we throw in order to get the 10,000 square feet, we throw a line through the garage. And I can't turn that over to my daughter with a problem on her head, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find the way to give her the lot, that she has those 4 lines and it's all hers. If I die, she doesn't have to argue with somebody, or if she decides to do something later, she doesn't have to argue with us anymore. You know what I mean? So that's why, and I would like to keep the garage, I really would. And I thought.
Yeah, and again, I'm not asking about the garage. I'm saying that on the plan that you provided to us, it shows that you plan on taking down the shed in the
Yes,
back.
the shed is
not
gone.
the garage. So I don't care about the garage. Leave the garage and, where it is, but, okay. I know you provided a photograph of what you plan on the house looking like, but usually what we ask for, and maybe we can just condition it, is the actual plans. Just like the previous petitioner with the new front porch, we're going to need to see some actual drawings of what the house is going to look like, what the elevations are. Again, you provided a photograph, but usually we expect just a little more detail, either to be submitted to us or to the planning office, so we have some better idea of how, basically how big the house is going to be. So that's just something, and again, I'll wait for the chairman or someone else to decide whether we condition that.
Well, give me 2 minutes, I'll go down and get the prints.
Well, no, like you said, you'd rather be home, so I don't want you to
No,
leave and go back and get the
I
prints.
want to finish this, really,
Okay.
No,
that's okay. We can take care of it afterward if we have to, but, and then, the planning office mentioned, and I agreed on landscaping, if there are any plans to add any landscaping or just kind of leave the lot as it is and build the house on it. But we would just need to know that one way or the other, what the plans are for the landscaping on the site. So keep that in mind too. And then the final thing was about the driveway. I think it shows a 16-foot wide driveway, and Swathi, what is the?
Actually, the plan does not show a curb cut, so it is not clear other than 2 parking spots. And there are regulations on how wide a driveway can be to pull into the panel. So we were hoping a revised site plan which locates the tree, which is, to be saved, which is proposed to be taken out, be indicated, the building footprint correspond to the final plan of the building that needs to go on there. We can definitely work with the applicant to inform him how that driveway should be so that it actually reflects the allowed curb cut for a residential property, and also some clarification on whether that site actually has that tailpiece associated. If it is not, and if it is just an easement, that information to be correctly recorded on the plot plan.
Okay, thank you. So, did you receive, or do you have with you the comments that the planning office provided in response to your petition, or you would have probably received it a few weeks ago, right? It's dated May 1st, so it would be...
Yeah, it's usually either sent by email or the regular post, so I can double check, or I can provide a copy, you know.
Well, I mean, I just pretty much, and again, other members are going to have a chance to speak, but much of what is in the planning office's comments is what I'd like to have, conditioned, including, like you said, the revised site plan, just so we have a fuller picture. I mean, I'm in favor of you, building on the lot, but we just don't have a lot of information other than your request and the plot plan from 2013 or whenever it was. So, but I'll wait for other members to speak. And you saying you didn't receive any information in response to your application, or?
Could I see that?
Sure. You have.
Do you want me to go over? Education here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mike, you all set?
this is your paper. I'm sorry.
That's okay. When I take the tomato out of your garden later this summer, we'll be even. Thank you. I'm just kidding. No, I don't have any other questions. I just wanted to go over the comments that the planning office had and figure out how we either continue to our next meeting so that this information can be collected, or have it be conditioned, and I'll turn the microphone over to Van.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Van?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. You know, sir, I do understand what you're trying to do here. I think from the perspective of the board of the city, we just want to make sure that everything's done right. Like you said earlier, when you're not around or when your daughter has the property or the house, there's no issues. So would you be open to continuing this meeting to a future date to get all the details, or? It won't be, it would be like a few weeks, but that's up to you, just throwing out a suggestion. But I understand what you're trying to do here, and what we're trying to do is to get all the details before you start building the home. So those are the comments I have. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Pam, Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I also would like to see additional information here, because I think that there is substantial confusion with what's recorded at the City of Lowell website for the lot area and what you're providing for the lot on this plot plan. And in addition to that, the building footprint of 26 by 38 is not consistent with the elevation presented. So I think we need to have a clear understanding, again, of the building plans. Like I think you said, you do have them. They should match what's represented on the plot plan as well. And to be complete, to describe the intent for the curb cut, so that the curb cut will be addressed as far as either meeting the building codes or needing a variance as well. So those would be my three things that I'd like to see addressed, in addition to the landscaping, just as a formality to detail what the landscaping's doing. But the lot being consistent with what is recorded at the city for your lot that you currently have, the building footprint being described in the site plan, matching what your plans show, and the curb cut being addressed as far as whether it meets building code or whether it requires a variance as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I think what we're looking at here is, I think there's consensus that the intent of the lot and the understanding of the square footage and grandfather is gathering some discussion and muster as it relates to the overall completion of the package. I think the plan you have in your car, I think the landscape plan needs to be written out. I think the curb cut needs to be written out. So my thought is that you continue, just my thought, you continue to the next meeting. You can then gather all that information and kind of tighten up the package itself, get all those questions answered in the memorandum in the comment section from the city through Joe, and then it'll give us all a full understanding of how you're moving forward. When you look at that comment form, there's just, we can go through them and we're kind of knocking them off, but as opposed to putting them in a condition, I think much more fair to you and you know, to the petition itself, that kind of just do a checklist and check all those things off and have those completed, and then I think that's going to get you to the end result of keeping your garage, number one, rolling off that shed, number two, placing the new construction home in the position of the property that is fair, so that your underlying concern and wish is that it's turned over to your daughter. There's no worries in the future for you presently worrying about any of that.
Oh, wait, what?
There's no worries. I just think we just have to itemize and checklist things off so that we all have the same thing, and that'll allow it to go a little clearer and smoother. You know, missing that couple of those pieces of information, to me, it's difficult to condition them because we're not all clear of what they really are. That's all I'm saying, and I have no further comments.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I share the same sentiments with my fellow board members. I think what we have here just really isn't enough to go on at this point, although the project does seem, you know, you're getting there, but I think you need to probably get some more information, so that we would have a better understanding as to, as, Member Perrin just said, put all your ducks in a line so that there are no problems later on down the future if and when you pass the property on to your daughter in the future, or anyone else. So, I would suggest maybe you consider, possibly agreeing to continue the matter, try to get all that information in order, and then come back before the board, so we're fully aware of where we're going from here and go with that. But certainly, it's up to you, Mr. Lantandro, whatever you'd like to do. But that would be my suggestion. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Okay, so what you're saying is, this is not going to go down tonight.
Well, I believe if you've listened to each of the board members, we don't have really a definitive plan in front of us to look at right now. There's a lot of open areas. I believe, Swathi, did you review with Mr. Latenda? Was this the comments that came back from the city? Is that what you guys were? Yeah, okay. So Swathi showed you the list of questions or comments that came back from the city as a starting point. We don't have anything back from you, sir, that shows us anything at all. So I think that's a good starting point. I also mentioned the issue about the trees.
What do you mean?
Let me finish, sir, okay? I also mentioned the thing about the trees at the beginning of the meeting. That's still an open issue that hasn't been resolved. And then there's the actual plot, the plot that was given to us, and then what the city has on record. That's another open issue. I believe what the board members are trying to express to you is we really don't have a set of plans. We don't know exactly what we're looking at. We need more information. And generally speaking, for myself, I don't have enough information to make a vote on this. So my high recommendation to you is that we continue the matter. It gives you sufficient time to answer some questions, come in with some new documentation, so the board has a reasonable time to review them, and then we can discuss where we're at and what we need to do or what's still lacking on your part in order to try to satisfy this variance. One other question I have is, Swathi, in the comments, did Mr. Latenda go before the planning board yet? Because number 5 references the applicant coming before ZBA, but it also says the applicant also needs relief on frontage, which will need to be obtained through special permit approval from the planning board.
Yes, no, he has not been to the
So
planning.
is there a reason?
Yes, and I checked with Joe on that, is because the planning board has recently been recommending or, seeking where CBA, they would also like to see that plan of the house, like the elevation details and everything. So that usually does not get submitted with the planning board application. That usually gets submitted only with the ZBA. So they are taking a step back to see what gets approved so that they can include that in their decision as well, instead of just approving a recommendation for a reduced frontage.
So if and when it goes before planning board,
It
has to
has
go
to.
through us first.
Yes, and then, ideally it can be one or the other, but because the planning board is also interested in seeing what plan, the elevations and everything, just to make sure that because they're granting a special permit, that it's in character with the neighborhood and everything, they like to have that chance to review the elevation and the proposed plan. So they are hoping that gets included in this application packet so that it's easier for them to arrive at a decision for the special permit. So the building permit is going to happen only after the planning board also approves the reduced frontage.
Okay. I thought planning board usually did a site plan review first, did their comments, and then it came before us. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, this one will not be going for a site plan review because it's a residential project.
Okay.
So it's only a special permit for the reduced lot frontage.
Okay.
From the planning board.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Latenda, would you like to continue this matter? Do you understand exactly what I've just informed you of?
You know, I really don't know. All this stuff you're talking about, why wasn't I told this before?
Well,
To stand here and look like an idiot,
no,
nothing's
that's,
being done, you're sending me home without nothing.
well, I'm not here to let you know what happened in the past. I can only tell you what this board needs to go
Ask
forward.
for a simple thing.
Yep.
Can I build on an 7,200 square foot lot? It's a square lot as far as the street goes, and there's no curbing there, there's no street. The street of Delaware Avenue is nothing but a hot top one weekend by a company.
Mr. Latenda,
And you know, in order to get storage and water there, I gotta go from Magnolia Street to bring it back.
Yep.
This is not an easy job for us. I feel that you guys are just gonna, I don't know, I don't know what to say, I'm not happy.
yep. Well, I'm giving you the opportunity. If you'd like to continue, we can definitely continue it. Or if you want to take the position you want to withdraw, that's up to you.
We're going home, we're not gonna tell them anything again. I sent out 37 letters, right?
Right.
And nobody showed up. That should tell you something.
Well,
You should be able to tell me to go ahead and start building or start organizing. I'll give you some information as I. What?
so,
You know, I started this, I talked to one woman, she said, bring a lawyer when you come into City Hall, Mrs. Murphy. Why should I do a thing like that? Then I talked to the building inspector, he's not here no more. I talked to Lawson, I had him down there with the engineer, we surveyed everything, we talked about it.
Yep.
Here he is, Clausen's not around here no more, and nobody's answering for his action.
right. Well,
Now you're telling me another story. that
Mr. Latenda, we gotta move on. I'm not in a position to talk about what happened in the past. I can only entertain what we have in front of us.
What do you want to do?
Ma'am, you have to come to the podium if you want to ask a question.
That's my wife.
That's okay. If you could just tell us who you are, please.
I'm Georgette,
Hi, Georgia.
and the land belongs to me. The big tree in the front, it's a city, should it be taken out?
I've asked the city to let me know exactly who owns those two trees that are on the street side.
Right in the front,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. I've asked for that. I haven't received any information on that. Now, if we had all the information in the world going forward, and that was the only thing that wasn't identified, then we could move forward with that and get that identified. But that's still an open issue.
Mr. Bailey, I asked you a question. You
Yep.
said you were on the site, you saw the lot.
Yep.
You know, if you'd
Okay, he's asking
knocked on
you,
the door, I would explain everything.
will
Well-
it continue? I'll talk to him when we.
Okay, so if you'd like to continue, I think based on what I've seen so far, I think you need more than 2 weeks. I would just assume go 2 more meetings. That will give you basically a full month to get all your questions answered through the city, to get your information put together. And if we're going to continue it, and you're going to have, I'll call it a new set of plans, I'm just going to call it that, or more information for us, I would strongly suggest that you get them to the city so we, the board, can review them in a timely fashion. So if we're going to do it in a month, after at least 3 weeks have gone by, at least a week before we're going to meet again, I would appreciate getting any new information that you have so the board can review it, maybe have to go back out, take a look at the site again. That way, once we meet again, we'll all have the same information to look at.
Okay,
So but that's my suggestion. I don't think it's going to happen in 2 weeks based on some of the information you're gonna need. You know, why go 2 weeks and then have to continue it again? So that would be my recommendation, that we go 2 meetings out from here. What would the date of that be, Swati?
The second Monday of June.
Okay, so that'd be June 8th.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, second Monday of June.
That'd be June 8th.
Okay,
Does June 8th
sounds good.
sound okay?
Yeah, but
Can you
what do
get
we have to
everything
do
ready?
now? I mean, do we have a list of things I have to do? Is that what
Um,
the letter you showed me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the list that Joe gave you.
Yes.
You said you have that, right?
I would use that as your starting
I've got
point.
what you
Yeah.
have.
Okay,
Okay.
so that's what we're talking
So
about.
work on that.
Just addressing, there's a list of, I think, 8 or 10 items. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, through you to the petitioner, but there's a list of 8 or 10 items that just, they give us more information to make an informed decision about what you're asking to do. That's all.
Okay,
So if you're able to collect all that within a month, some of it you said you already have. So it's just a matter of answering the questions that the planning office gave to you in the document.
All right, so if I fill up that letter that I got from Joe, that will be my coming in the next time. Okay, now,
But we would like, as the chairman said, that if that information is collected, we would like to see it before the meeting. Because we all go out, I went out to your site, to the site this weekend, you know, with the information that I had.
Boulevard this weekend?
I was, during the rowing event. Took me a while to get through there to your house. But that's what we're looking for, is just for you to address the concerns that the planning office has and get the answers to us before the meeting, not to just present it to us, you know, on June 8th at 6:30, but to get it to us a few days earlier, you know, the week before, if
Okay.
possible.
yep.
One question to the chairman, please,
Sure.
if I may. All right, in your opinion, are we gonna be moving ahead on this, or are we just gonna shuffle things around?
I've asked you to supply us with more information. That's all I can say to you.
That's all you can tell me.
Yep. And if we're going to continue to June 8th, and let's say June 8th rolls around and you're still not ready, then we can continue again. So don't feel like, if you're not ready for June 8th, we can certainly continue again.
I'll be ready in 2 weeks,
Well,
June 8th,
June 8th.
yeah, I think you better have June 8th. Okay, so let's, if I could have a motion, please, Mr. Clerk.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-019 for variance for Georgette and Al Latondra for 31 Delaware Ave to be continued to June 8th.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bailey,
Continuance to June 8th.
Mr. McCarthy,
Continue to June 8th.
Mr. Paglia,
Continue to June 8th.
Mr. Peck,
Continue to June 8th.
Mr. Perrin.
Continue to June 8th.
Thank you.
Okay, so hopefully we'll see you on June 8th, and try to work with DPD as best you can.
okay, thank you.
Okay?
You
Thank you,
know,
sir.
I gotta apologize for my behavior.
No, you're all set, Mr. Lieutenant.
I
Don't worry.
come from the years where I used to talk to a few guys and we get it over and done with. You guys are a lot of work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next matter before us is ZB 2015-20, the petitions of variance. The applicant is Geraldo Couto. The property is located at 100 Fleming Street, and the petition, the variance for the construction of an addition that will connect the existing dwelling with the existing garage. The addition will bring the garage within the rear setback requirement. The proposed project is located in the suburban single-family zoning district and requires variance approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals under Section 5.1 of the zoning ordinance. Is the applicant here? Yes, sir. How are you? Good. So if you want to tell us who you are and why you're here.
Okay, as you told you, I got this house that has a very small house, a ranch, 24 by 38, has a separate two-car garage. It's about 9 to 10 feet by 3 feet by side.
Yep.
And I'd like to build some family room to connect. I brought some picture here if you want to, if you'd like to.
Sure, if you have something, sure. Yep.
Can I go
You
there?
can come forward. Yep. Okay, thank you. So we'll take a minute and have the board take a look at this, okay? So if you don't mind, we'll just keep this up here for now, okay?
Sure.
Okay, so, anything else you want to add? So, basically, you want to add an additional room, and I know in the write-up, it explained what your intention was. Anything else you want to add at this point?
No.
No,
that's
okay.
it.
So I'll open it up to the public. Anyone here to like speak in favor of this petition? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. Anyone like to speak in opposition? 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 Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is closed. I'd like to open it up to the board. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a chance to actually go on the site Sunday. Mr. Kuto was home at the time, and he saw a strange person staring at his house and, invited me onto the property to look at it. But my only question or concern, it was the same as the planning office, just to get a picture of what the addition would look like, that it would remain a one-story addition to match the house and the garage. And he did mention that he would bring the plan tonight, and so my question has been answered. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Van?
I have no comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Dennis?
Through Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to make a couple comments. I think that the addition that you're presenting here makes a lot of sense, and I like the fact that you've honored or exceeded actually the setbacks for the rear and the side with the addition itself, and the fact that you're attaching it to the garage, which makes the garage more friendly for these
Exactly.
cold winters that we have
Yeah.
here.
Absolutely.
It really does, and that's the only reason you're here is because it's attached. Otherwise, the
Yeah.
addition would be standing alone. So, and I'd just like to make a condition that the addition be a single-story addition.
Yeah,
If that's okay with you.
yeah, it's a single family. It's single.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Gary?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I think it's a good plan. I think it makes sense. I think enclosing it and keeping yourself out of the weather as much as possible makes all the difference in the world during these tough winters. And that condition, bringing the plan in today is what we really need to make a decision. So I wish you the best of luck over there today.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Sean?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the applicant for bringing the plan in. That was the main concern I had, to see how things were going to plan out. And it does make sense, the addition to the property, and I wish her the best of luck.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Well, Swati, I was going to try to avoid asking you something for almost every petition, but I guess I just have to ask one question. So the plot plan that we have before us shows 12,534 square feet. And the property card the city has is 8263.
I am not sure why
Okay.
that is, because sometimes the assessor's office, we basically have no control over what that, but I can double check with the assessor's office
Okay.
where their information is from.
Yeah, because, I mean, I'm familiar enough with that area, 12,534 square feet.
Because it's two lots, they gonna, the city is gonna to, how to combine the property tax. Right now, it is two different property, how can I say, the bill statement, and they are
So
going
is it,
to
is
combine.
it, is there a piece of land between your house and the people that live at the corner of Fleming and Campbell Drive? Is there a piece
No,
of
it's
land
a-
between them?
It is together, right? It's 106 Flem Street, that's right.
What's that?
It's 100 and 106.
Oh, okay. Okay, so 106
It,
would run towards the daily school, right?
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, I know where it is. Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, that's all. I'm not, no, I think, again, I really like the look of the plans that you submitted. This is, again, this is very helpful to the board to get a good idea of what the finished product should be. I think we've had a couple of petitions like this where we have to treat the garage as a separate garage. It becomes an accessory, which kind of changes the dimensional features. So I would, again, say based on the, since this is a variance, because of the treatment of the garage, a hardship does present itself for the petitioner who's trying to, add some value to the home and some convenience. I think it looks great. Does anybody have any comments, Dennis?
I just have one comment through you, Mr. Chairman. The variance being granted does not include variance for not meeting the required lot area.
I believe, as the gentleman explained, it's a combined lot, which, like some properties have two lots in combination, so that's how it becomes the 12,000 mentioned.
This is lot 100, this is 106.
So in the deed,
Do we need a combined lot to be, what's that, an A&R plan where the lots are combined?
the city has various properties which are like that. The house could be, part of, they just never wanted to, go through the process of creating a new A&R plan, so they remain combined.
I guess the question is, could they be sold at a later point as separate lots?
Not without coming before ZBA, because the smaller lot will never get approved for anything. So nobody would knowingly buy a below smaller size lot.
Square feet.
Okay, I guess I just wanted to ask to be
Sure.
more educated. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments or conditions from the board?
I would like to make one condition that the addition be built as a single-story addition.
Okay, and that we also want to have these accepted into the
Yep.
record?
Okay.
Yep. Okay, sir? Okay. All right, so could I have a motion, please?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for ZB 2015-020 for a variance for 100 Fleming Street with the following conditions: that the addition be built as a single-story structure, and that the plan submitted, A10, dated 5/8/2015 be included in the submission.
Okay, can I have a second?
Second motion.
A roll call.
Mr. Bailey?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. McCarthy?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Paglia?
Approved with conditions.
Mr. Peck?
Approve the conditions.
Mr. Perrin?
Approve with conditions.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Kudo, you've been approved. Wish you the best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, our next matter before us is the annual meeting, election of officers. And I would say, based on what we've done in the past, I will handle the clerk and vice chairman. And then if my willing board members want to handle the chairmanship, they can do that. So what we'll do, we'll nominate each of the board members and take a vote, and we'll move on from there. So the first board member we'll vote on will be for clerk, and I will nominate Dennis McCarthy. Any other names? Hearing none, could we do a, so,
Does anybody need to second? So
I'll
that I
second the
can take-
nomination.
okay. So, congratulations, Dennis. And the next board member will be, I will nominate Gary Perrin for vice chairperson.
I'd like to second the motion.
Second. Okay, everybody says aye, aye. Any opposed? Nope. Okay. Congratulations, Mr. Perrin.
Thank you.
Swati, I'd like to nominate William Bailey as the chairperson.
Second that.
I'm assuming all are in favor with all those votes? Okay, thank
Dead
you.
silence. That's what I like. I know. Okay, well, congratulations to all the new board members. All right, any other matters, any other members have comments, questions? So Swati, our next meeting is
2 weeks from now.
2 weeks? Okay.
25th. Oh, yes, 20th.
Yeah, through you,
yes,
Mr.
you're
Chairman,
right.
just as a note, it is Thursday, May 28th,
Yes,
as we
because of
observe
the Memorial
holiday.
Day. Yeah. And we are going to try to provide the agenda to you the Friday before, well, the 2 Fridays before the meeting, so that
Yep.
you will have 2 weekends, giving you a little bit more time
Yep.
to check out the sites and everything.
And you know the chairman would certainly appreciate that, right?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So with no other matters before us, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I just one comment as a follow-up. Swati, this is requested through a few meetings back. We had a quick conversation through Judy at that time. As it relates to getting the documents online, we're all in observance of being paperless and all, but I did make a request that if we're going to have plans that come, in plan size, that we get those in US mail. It's just going to make it so much easier for us to read them in hard copy as opposed to trying to get them on your laptop.
Sure. I think we are working on that, and that's a request we have gotten from the other land boards as well. So
Thank you. I appreciate the
definitely, we
follow-up
will
on that.
work on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary. All right, so can I have a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
So moved.